Jagat?
Sir. Oh,
Yeah,
good afternoon,
okay.
sir.
So, good afternoon, Jagat. So, Jagat, you are from West Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh,
Yes, sir.
and you have done mechanical engineering from Vellore,
Yes, sir.
and your optional is anthropology.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you a very mundane question. You have done mechanical engineering. Can you tell me how many four-wheelers, that includes cars, buses, how many four-wheelers are there in this world? And how does it compare with the world's population? Any idea? Any guesstimate?
Sir, I don't have idea, sir, about this.
Okay, right. So this is 1.4 billion as compared to the population of 7.8 billion. So that is the huge number.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So let me ask you again a slightly provocative question. Do you think a time has come to replace Mahatma Gandhi's picture on the Indian currency notes?
Sir, I don't think so, sir. Mahatma Gandhi is our father of our nation. And for generations to come, for centuries to come, he will still be our father of nation. And the kind of contribution that he has done to our nation is immense, and it is unparalleled. So I don't think replacing his photo with someone else's photo is a wise idea, sir.
Okay. You are being the captain of a cricket team. Now tell me, cricket, is it a game of chance or a game of skill?
Sir, it is both. It has both elements of chance as well as skill. However, skill dominates the probability of chance, sir.
So it is more of skill rather than a chance.
Yes, sir. But certainly, chance also. The game starts with the toss, which is a game of chance. Once the toss is set in, the skill dominates the play, sir.
Okay. All right. What is your view? Should there be a retirement age and minimum educational qualifications for politicians in this country?
Uh, Sir, I think a political leader is the one who represents the will of the people on the ground level. And for that, I don't think neither age nor educational criteria would come into play. It's rather understanding the people's problems more, catering to their needs. That is what is a major parameter that decides the efficacy of a political leader rather than educational qualifications and age, sir.
Why? A politician may ultimately turn out to become a minister, a cabinet minister, and he will be instrumental in taking policy decisions. And a civil service, which you are aspiring for, also prescribes a minimum graduate qualification. So why should there not be a qualification for politicians?
Sir, we have two executive systems in our country. One is the permanent executive, and another is the temporary executive. People with expertise, people with educational qualifications and analytical abilities, they are there to serve the political executive, such in the form of civil servants. So, more the role of politicians is more to understand the ground level realities of the people and their aspirations, and reflect that in the policy making, rather than having higher educational qualifications merely do not serve the purpose of a politician.
So you mean to say that the officers don't have understanding of the ground level realities? When you get posted as SDO, do you not also get knowledge about the ground level realities?
I'm sorry, sir, I do not mean that. I would like to rephrase my words given a chance.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, I mean to say that civil servants are bring expertise, and also they bring various point of views onto the table. And finally, politicians take their final call on a policy based on the requirement of the nation. I think, sir, politicians needs more touch with the people rather than having higher educational qualifications. Of course, higher educational qualifications would add as an advantage, but that will not be the major criteria in my opinion, sir.
Oh, all right. Now, you see, many incidents of mob lynching have been witnessed in this country. If you are the collector of a district, how will you prevent mob lynching? What are the preventive measures as well as the measures to be taken on the spot as collector?
Sir, preventive measures, if we analyze the reasons for happening of mob lynchings, the primary reasons are, number one, sir, it's because of the fake news that is being spread in social media. Number two, the people who are involved in these mob lynchings are majorly unemployed youth. So the preventive measures is to prevent any such kind of fake news spreading in the local areas. For that, we need to have good cyber teams at the district level to monitor such fake news. Number two, providing employment opportunities and engaging youth in some productive work would reduce these kind of incidents, sir. And to bring immediate peace, I think, sir, when we come to know such kind of incidents being happening, sir, we have the legal measures like 144 section of CRPC to immediately bring peace at the region and dispense the people from that particular spot. These are the measures that I would like to take, sir.
Okay, last question. Victim shaming in public. Do you think there is a need to control media?
Sir, definitely yes, sir. I think media, although it plays a proactive role in democracy, but even it should have certain limits and a line which it should not cross every time. Because of this victim shaming and incidents like media trial are happening, it also have certain influence on the judiciary and the way the justice system is acting. So I think media should be regulated to an extent that it should not cross its boundary.
Okay, thank you. Ashokji.
Jagat, you have been interested in watching videos on tribes, Indian tribes. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Have you? Oh, yeah. Now tell me, in Andhra Pradesh, which tribal dance form is the most famous?
Sir, the dance form of Porja tribe in Araku Valley, I'm unable to recollect the exact name, sir. I'm sorry.
Dance name. You are right. It's the Porja tribe. Yes.
Sir, it's not coming from my mouth. It's just.
Yeah. Okay. It is Dhimsa.
Dhimsa dance, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. So on what occasion and by whom it is performed?
Sir, it is performed during their traditional harvest festival. Time. It is performed by both, majorly by women, but some few young men are also present. They form a regular circle and then they dance with traditional attires.
Have you ever seen them dancing like this?
Sir, I watched their videos, sir, but not directly.
Okay. Now tell me, in China, very recently, census results have been, declared. What has been revealed out of these results? One or two or three major points.
Sir, the major point is that the Chinese workforce is aging and the population growth is also very low. And the Chinese policymakers are worried about this fact and they are trying to relook at their policy of one-child policy. So this is the only thing that I came to know from the newspaper articles, sir. I'm sorry, I can't get more points on this, sir.
Can you contrast this with the population of India?
Yes, sir. Sir, India at present is in the stage of demographic dividend where we have a very good working age population from 15 to 59 years of age. Although we tried restricting our population since late 1980s, 1990s, but we didn't have any fixed criteria like Chinese, like one-child policy. So I think, sir, we are in a comfortable position as of now when compared to China.
Don't you think that this population dividend that you are talking about is useful only when we can give jobs to all these hands?
Yes, sir. Definitely,
Everyone has
sir.
2 hands.
Yes, sir. Sir, we need to definitely skill our population in this working age, and then provide more employment opportunities. Only then we will be able to reap the dividend of our demography. Rather, if we do not do that, it will be a flop, sir.
So to what extent do you think we have been able to, reap this dividend? Or shall we be able to ever reap it in near future, in foreseeable future?
Sir, I'm optimistic that we will be able to reap this dividend in the future. Our policy is also in this direction. If we see in the last 10 years or so, we are focusing more on skilling more people by establishing, by bringing many schemes like Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, and also by improving the startup ecosystems and entrepreneurship by creating more jobs. However, there are some hindrances also in this respect. So I think, sir, definitely we will be working on those shortcomings, and we will come up with better policy which suits our demands of the current times, and we will be able to reap that dividend, sir.
Okay, now tell me, which crops are used to make biofuels? Which crops
Yes, sir.
are
Sir,
used?
Sugarcane, sugarcane crop, and also, sir, certain we also use normal food crops like potato and these crops which are wasted in the second generation, third generation biofuels. Sir, I'm sorry, sir, I cannot, I'm unable to recollect more.
Okay. What does the biofuel policy of India say in this regard?
Sir, according to that policy, 10% of the biofuel has to be blended in our petrol, and I do not remember the share of the fuel that should be blended with diesel, sir. It's around 30%. I'm not exactly sure. So we are planning to move towards a greener fuels progressively, sir, slowly.
Okay, and last thing, in every election there is a talk of this problem that many people are left out of voting because they are away from their hometown or where they are registered as a voter. They are doing whatever, they are out due to work or some other reason or whatever, or they can't come to the polling station because of some illness or something. Now, do you think that time has come to allow everyone to vote electronically if they wish to?
Sir, definitely this is a very good move, sir, but the time is not right for that move, because the kind of infrastructure is not available to facilitate such a reform, sir. We have huge digital divide in our country. The rural areas are not having this internet services, and also even in although it has become affordable, but the accessibility to the internet is not to the level that it should be to bring these kind of reforms, sir.
Contrast this with several steps that have recently been taken by government, like the CoWIN app. You must have heard that everyone has to first register and find a slot for vaccination on the app, which can be done only with the help of either computer or a smartphone.
Yes, sir.
So when that can be done, voting can also be done, because voting is only once in 5 years.
Yes, sir. Sir, we are witnessing the consequences of such a move with CoWIN portal. The kind of vaccination that is in the rural areas is very low when compared to the urban areas. So we can.
Aim is to vaccinate everybody. The
Yes,
aim
sir.
is not to leave out rural population.
Yes, sir. Sir, even in if I have to, I just want to quote one case study, sir. In one of the rural areas in Andhra Pradesh, since the accessibility to internet is not available, the local administration is taking manual registration for vaccination program, since the internet facility is not available to that village. So we are facing such a problems now.
Well, with electronic voting also that can be done. Those who want to vote electronically can be allowed to vote. Others can come to the polling station.
Sir, if the cyber security systems are arranged to such an extent that it cannot be tampered with, then definitely we can go forward, sir. But not.
What are the issues? What are the issues in it? You said availability of internet and computers is one area,
yes,
which can be solved because some people can vote on paper.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry, on EVM.
Sir, cyber security is also an important factor, sir. We cannot take it lightly. So even if the votes, the duplication of votes can happen, so the procedural issues can take place.
When this country can manage a huge digital banking payment securely, voting is hardly any problem. Don't you think? Well, think about it later. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Daga.
Jagat.
Sir.
See, the present pandemic has left many children orphaned or abandoned. You must have read in the newspapers.
Yes,
and now there are various actually steps which are being initiated by NGOs and various governments. Tell me two things. Number one, what is the provision as of now in India for the orphans and abandoned children? And second, what is the legal provision to stop, to protect them from the exploitation?
Yes, sir. Sir, the first, sir, regarding the first question, sir, people, the children who are orphaned due to the death of their parents, they are taken care through rehabilitating to rehabilitation centers and providing them with adequate educational facilities.
What is the legal setup for that?
Sir, sorry, sir, I'm not aware of it.
See, you cannot take a child to rehabilitation center and the child will remain there throughout the life. I mean, you have to have some system.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of this mechanism behind it.
Okay, then can you guess what is the number of orphans and abandoned children in India?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of the number, sir.
Any idea? You just guess.
Sir, it might be 80 lakhs to 1 crore.
Yeah, you are on higher side. As per UNICEF, it is around 30 million.
Thank you, sir.
So lower side. Achha, tell me, what is the provision for their protection from sexual exploitation for children?
Sir, we have this
orphans for all the children.
Okay, sir. So prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2013.
Of that act?
Sorry, sir.
What is the name of that act?
Sir, POXO Act.
Yeah.
Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act.
Yeah. Tell me the provision. Important provisions.
Sir, according to this act, a person who is below 18 years of age is considered as children, and any kind of sexual use, if they are met with, they are subjected to the accused are subjected to severe punishment. I'm not exactly sure of the degree of punishment.
Those provisions are there in IPC also.
Yes, sir.
But what special arrangements are there in the Act?
Sir, there is life imprisonment, and also if the crimes are very heinous in nature, there is a provision for death penalty also. Sir, I have limited.
If it commits a crime, suppose a child commits a murder, how actually the process of courts will be different from a person who is adult? Is there any difference?
Yes, sir. Sir,
What is the difference?
We have juvenile courts which cater to the children, the children criminals who are children, and they are not subject. They are rehabilitated, and they are given counseling and reform.
Where they are rehabilitated?
Sir, in rehabilitation centers in the.
What is that actually rehabilitation center? Rehabilitation center is general, but what is the specific terminology for that? It is private, government, NGO. Who runs it?
Sorry, sir, I am not aware of it. Sorry, sir, I will learn about it.
Okay, tell me, what kind of TSPs, Directive Principle of State Policies, we have in the Constitution?
Sir, we have three different kinds of directive principles of state policy. One is Gandhian directive principles of state policy. The other is the. Sorry, sir, I couldn't hear you, sir.
Yeah, Gandhian is one.
Yes, sir, and socialistic principles, and also liberal and intellectual principles, sir.
Any mention of economic?
Yes, sir. Sir, we have one directive principles of state policy which asks the states to decrease the inequality in our country, and at the same time to take economic needs of vulnerable sections such as elderly people, children, women, and other vulnerable sections.
So tell me the last question.
Yes, sir.
This is your 5th attempt.
Yes, sir.
And you want to be a civil servant. What appeals you the most to become a civil servant? One single factor which attracts you towards this service.
Sir, the sense of satisfaction that I have while doing that particular job, sir.
That satisfaction can be from many things. This can come actually from your hobbies.
Sir, I think, sir, the job that we do, we have to live in that particular job every moment and every minute. And hobbies and these kind of things can give us momentarily enjoyment and happiness, but we cannot live our dream in every minute in those hobbies. But
that is a very actually general sort of person. What is the most important factor which attracts you toward the civil service?
So the very fact that we serve to our nation at a large scale.
Many people are serving the country. Everybody is serving. Lakhs of NGOs. You see, so many people, professionals, scientists, army men. Lot of people are serving the country.
Yes, sir. I just want to do the same, sir, through civil services. I have the same dream as like the people doing in the other sectors also, but I want to take the path of civil services, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Gauri Shankar ji.
Okay, Jagat Sai, first of all, let me ask you, what is the meaning of your name, Jagat?
Sir, Jagat is world. And Sai, my name is Jagat Sai, sir. Jagat is world, and Sai is because my parents are devotees.
What does Jagat mean? Jagat is world, but what actually it means? It's a Sanskrit word,
yes,
which means the world which is constantly in motion. Gat means gati.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Which is constantly in motion.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Now tell me, what is the oldest text in the world? Or oldest book in the world?
Sir, I'm not sure about it, sir.
You are not sure?
No, sir.
I can give you a hint. It comes from India.
Sir, then it must be Rig Veda, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Thank
Rig
you,
Veda is the oldest text anywhere in the world.
Thank you, sir.
Now, can you name 5 tribes, because you are, interested in tribal sociology. So tell me, what are the 5 important tribes in India?
Sir, if I Gonds are the largest tribe in our country, sir. Gond, and we have Chenchus, we have Saharias, we have Nagas in the northeast, Gaddis, Bakarwals. These are some of the tribes, sir.
Okay, and in terms of importance, you can say Gond, then Bhil, and
Yes,
Santhal.
Yes, sir.
In that order. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Now, can you tell me the state of your name, name of your state, Andhra Pradesh? It appears somewhere in history, in some ancient history. Any reference to this?
Yes, sir. Sir, during Satavahana rule, this region is ruled by Satavahanas, and even before that, this region is said to be ruled by some regional kingdoms who are known by the name Andhras tribe. So since from there, the Satavahana kingdom enlarged the image and popularity of the region, sir.
Okay, it goes even little before that. If you read the history of Andhra, you will find a Andhra tribe in North India, which migrated to South.
Yes, sir.
That is a reference in a text associated with Rig Veda.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Now, can you name 2 or 3 national parks in Andhra? There are many national parks in Andhra. Can you name 2 or 3 of them?
Yes, sir. Sir, we have Papikonda National Park in West Godavari in my own district as well. And we have Seshachalam Biosphere Reservoir National Park in Chittoor district near Tirumala Tirupati. Sir, I can recall only 2 as of now, sir.
One of the biggest one is what?
Sir, Seshachalam is the biggest one, sir.
Krishna Wildlife Sanctuary.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
That is one of the biggest. Now, do you understand what is non-tariff barrier in economics?
Yes, sir.
What does it mean?
Sir, during exports and imports, a country actually imposes both tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers. Non-tariff barriers doesn't involve any monetary transaction. Rather, it involves the quality issues, the sanitation and hygiene aspects associated with a product. And also certain policy restrictions on importing and exporting of goods and services. So
give me 1 or 2 examples.
Sir, previously in the last prior to 2 to 3 years, the European Union used to impose sanitary and phytosanitary restrictions on fruits like mangoes, which are exported from India to European Union, sir. So those sanitary and phytosanitary restrictions come under non-tariff barriers.
Okay. I think my internet is... Hello?
Yes, sir. I am able to hear you, sir.
Now tell me, what do you mean by dumping? Dumping a product?
Sir, dumping refers when a country A, if I can take an example, country A and B. If country A is exporting certain goods and services into country B, by manipulating the price of the goods to an extent that the final price would be lower than the goods produced in the domestic country of B itself. That is dumping, sir.
So it is basically pricing low, even lower than the cost price of the product.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what do you mean by under invoicing and over invoicing?
Sorry, sir. I do not have clarity on this. I will learn about it, sir.
Okay. So my last question is that in the last some years, or we can say about 20 years, there's an increasing tendency in India to collect a mob and protest against, a law or a prosecution or whatever. This tendency is increasing day by day. That if somebody want to protest against a law, he will bring a few thousand people and start protesting against it. Now, what do you think this kind of protest, are they desirable in democracy?
Sir, protests are symbols of a mature democracy, sir. But the protests should be peaceful. If any kind of disruption to the law and order is caused by the protest, then they are condemnable, sir.
Okay, and if people are blocking the roads and stoning the buses and obstructing traffic, then what do you?
Sir, they are not, sir, they are not a good sign to do. The Constitution has given the freedom of expression, which can be expressed through protests. But even the fundamental rights are subjected to reasonable restrictions. And if someone is blocking the road and obstructing and causing inconvenience to the public at large, then they should not be entertained, sir.
So what should the government do in such cases?
Sir, I think the government has to take some instantaneous decisions based on the kind of protests they are happening. For example, designating a certain areas in every major town and cities and in villages also to permit any kind of protest to happen there only without disrupting the normal functioning of public, sir. We can do that, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Jagat. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Harish ji.
Jagat, you were working with Wipro.
Yes, sir.
What did you do there?
Sir, I was a project engineer with Wipro. My role was to do information management for our client, which is Corning, based in United States of America, sir.
Okay, and then why did you leave in 1 year? You had a permanent job.
Sir, even before joining Wipro, I was contemplating to come towards civil services. However, I took some time before making this decision. So in the meanwhile, I worked there, sir.
Okay, and have you worked anywhere since 2015?
Sir, no, sir, not full time, but along with preparation, I was freelancing as a content developer for civil services preparation examination, sir.
Okay, now tell me, other than civil service, what other professions you are good at?
Sir, I never tried any other profession except as a project engineer in Wipro. So, sir, maybe I can, if I have to think, I can become a good singer, sir. I have that hobby. So
you want two things. One thing, you need to be good at that profession. Second thing, it also should be your liking. So what will be your choice other than civil service?
Sorry, sir. What is the second one, sir? Lucky?
No. You should like what you do. And you should be good at it.
Sir, singing fills both the criteria, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, in 1969, there was a tribunal established about the Godavari River dispute. What was it about?
Sir, sharing of water between Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh.
Okay, and then what was the outcome of it?
Sir, the tribunal has, sir, I'm not exactly sure, sir, but there was a water sharing formula between the three states then.
And it was not only Godavari, but also Krishna River,
yes, sir.
Which was included subsequently. But now recently, dispute has developed between Telangana and Andhra Pradesh about a similar water usage. Now, what is that and what is happening in that area?
Sir, post 2014, after Andhra Pradesh got bifurcated, both Andhra Pradesh and Telangana started demanding more water sharing for their own respective states. However, the other states, riparian states like Karnataka and Maharashtra, they do not want to concede any kind of drop in their share. Rather, they want the previously allocated share to United Andhra Pradesh to be divided between both the states. But due to more number of irrigation projects being constructed on Godavari by Telangana government and also by Andhra Pradesh government, both the state governments are demanding more, sir. And the present, this is again in the tribunal as of now, sir. It's the issue is going on.
So there is a new tribunal to address this issue?
Sir, I'm not sure about it, sir.
Okay, now tell me what will be the course of action and what will be the outcome? If the
Sir,
two states have a problem with the water use, what is the outcome? Or what is the course that they can take?
Sir, it is said that actually certain there is misutilization of the already available water, because around 1000 TMC of water is being flown into Bay of Bengal through Godavari River. So if that is properly used by both the states, then the issue can be resolved to a certain extent, sir. But already Karnataka and Maharashtra are facing stress with respect to water. So I don't think there will be any diminishing of their share in the allocation of water, sir. So rather Telangana and Andhra Pradesh should utilize the already available water to them.
You know, there was a dispute act, Interstate River Water Dispute Act of 1956.
Yes, sir.
Is that still in force, or has it been modified or done with?
Sir, it is still in force, sir. But recently the Parliament has brought a new bill, but it hasn't been passed by both the houses of the Parliament. So the 1956 Act is still in force, sir.
Okay. Now, suppose you were the chief election commissioner. Would you have permitted, looking at the corona pandemic, would you have permitted the elections to go on in 4 states and also some local elections in Uttar Pradesh?
Sir, with the limited wisdom that I have, sir, I would not have taken the risk of conducting the elections. But only after consulting all the political parties, I would have taken decisions, sir.
Okay, so you think it was a mistake to go ahead with elections?
Sir, in the hindsight, I have the benefit of evaluating it, but I think it's not proper on my part to label Election Commission as committing mistake, but certainly it caused more damage than benefit to India, sir.
But how does EC decide whether it is right or not right to go ahead and plan election in certain time? This is one condition. There could be many others. So what helps EC to make a decision on this?
Sir, many factors, such as first, one thing is the taking stock of the situation and predicting foreseeing the future, and also the availability of infrastructure and personnel and the risk that they possess in conducting the elections in such a difficult circumstances. All these things, all these factors play a role in taking the final decision, I think, sir.
So you do think the EC has a power to postpone the elections for a while?
Sir, I think with the permission of President, Election Commission can postpone it if it deemed necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, his way of answering questions was very methodical. He replied very well, though he did not know the answers to many of the questions. Many of the questions were very basic also. Even there he did not answer, but said that I'm not aware, I don't know, like that. He did not try to guess frequently. That's a good thing. But on the whole, his replies were, I think, quite good. But on complex questions, which are controversial type questions, I think he did not frame the answer fully.
Okay, so Jagat, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
So Jagat, first of all, I would like to know from you, what is your view, your opinion about your performance in the last about 35 minutes in the mock interview?
Sir, definitely there are certain areas where I have to fill my gaps in terms of knowledge. When it comes to the articulation and conveying my intentions and thoughts, except in 1 or 2 instances, I think I fairly did well. Sir, other than that, I would like to hear from you any kind of improvements and comments. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So, yeah. So Jagat, let me add a few things from my side.
Sure,
on,
sir.
on the side of the panel. You see, you are good. There is no doubt about it. And we feel that there is a good amount of potential inside you, which definitely can help you in succeed this time at the civil services. So as far as your delivery is concerned, communication skills are concerned, they are quite fine. Except that at one point, you see, you said that it is not coming in my mouth. Okay, you said that's a phrase. Now that is not a very, very appropriate phrase. Phrase. Either you should say you do not know about it, but saying such things not coming in my mouth perhaps may not have the desirable effect on the panel. Okay, so be slightly careful about what you say before the panel. Now coming to the knowledge part. There are certain areas you have performed well. Some of the answers you gave exceedingly well, but then there is always a scope for improvement. So some of the simple questions, basic questions, you are able to answer them adequately well. And one good thing was that you also did not resort to any guesswork. So wherever you did not know, you said that. And otherwise also, you were able to answer the first question fairly well. But when it came to certain complex questions, there, for example, you had a stand, and then when I asked some supplementaries, you were slightly, shaken, you see. So therefore, the question about the minimum educational qualifications or the retirement age, so that was, you held a very rigid stand that there is no need for any minimum qualification or retirement age. But then if you have stuck to that, then you have to defend that also. Either you don't take that stand, you take the stand, yes, there is a necessity for having a minimum age qualifications and also retirement age. Then you can support that thing. You can give so many arguments support to that. But once you say that there is no such need, then you have to come out with some logical argument to support your thing. So this is, you have to be very careful regarding some of the complex questions or controversial questions where the supplementaries, the chances of supplementary are bound to be there. Okay.
Sure, sir.
And then some of the things, of course, your replies were fine, but the knowledge and the depth, you see. So every question, you must understand 3 things. Number one, the knowledge should not only be good, but it should be supplemented with more data so that you can reply the supplementaries. And also you should be able to come out with examples and practical applicability of the argument which you are advancing, because then it will be able to bring back home your argument, your theory, whatever you think about it. So just saying that is not enough. Give examples. Okay.
Sure, sir. Thanks.
Now about your presentation, body language, I think it was fine. It was absolutely fine. I didn't find anything wrong with that. But if you improve upon the knowledge base, I think it will do you a lot of good. So, so otherwise, you need to prepare on a variety of topics, constitutional provisions and election machinery and the domestic affairs and the current affairs and the international. All these things you need to prepare more. And some of the questions which relate to the issues like the politicians, or for example, I asked a question, I think, about the Mahatma Gandhi's picture on this. So such questions are provocative questions, and be prepared to, so therefore, before answering the question, you should first of all pause, think, and then come out with the answers so that you can defend it fully. Because you might, just like a chess move, if there is one, one move, you have to anticipate what are going to be the next moves and so on. So if you have any questions to ask us, you can ask us.
Sir, I do not have any specific questions, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I would like to.
Okay. Yeah. So prepare. And one more thing, that since you have written a number of hobbies, so singing patriotic songs and the cricket and Indian tribes and documentaries. So naturally the questions are bound to come on that, because DAF is the most important thing which you have prepared yourself, which you have written yourself. It's your own book. So therefore,
Yes, sir.
you have to be prepared very, very fully on that account. And then, of course, about Andhra Pradesh, some questions were put to about Andhra Pradesh also. And the subject of mechanical engineering also would definitely figure. Some or the other expert may be there who may be having good knowledge about mechanical engineering. So these are some of the areas which you need to prepare. And I think you will do well. We are hopeful that you should be able to succeed this time. Of course, everything will depend on your written scores also. But our best luck to you, best wishes to you. May you succeed this time. May God be with you, and Godspeed to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all, sir.
Okay,
And-
so wish you good
And
luck.
last thing, you have smiled now. For the first, you did not smile many times. So you smile a bit. While the interview is in progress, give one or two smiles also. That will make your outer, the demeanor will become favorable, and your body language will be very much favorable. So it should be
Sure.
more, forceful, more confidence. Yeah. Okay.
Sure, sir.
All the best.
Okay, so good luck, Jagat.
Thank you very much, sir.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.